All right, we're live. That was kind of weird. I was trying to tag everybody to get y'all in here, and it wouldn't let me go live, so I don't know what that was all about. I will tag you guys after I'm done filming in the comments, and make sure you watch this because this is really good info. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I'm really excited, and this is not something you will probably see anywhere else or hear about anywhere else. I never hear anybody talking about this kind of nerdy biology stuff when it comes to cravings, and everyone needs to hear it. So that's what I'm talking about, is cravings and how to overcome cravings, because it doesn't matter who you are. If you go on a diet, so any sort of calorie restriction that your body's not used to, even if it's the most minor thing, you're going to get hungry and you're going to start having cravings. But there is a difference between cravings and hunger, and that's what I want to kind of go over, because just because you're having a craving for a certain type of food doesn't mean that you're lacking in a nutrient that you need. It doesn't mean that you need to eat this certain type of food. Your body's telling you need to eat this thing, right? That's where, the whole intuitive eating really gets on my nerves, because when you're hungry, real hunger, true hunger, you don't care what's in front of you. You will eat broccoli, you'll eat chicken, you'll eat tofu. Like, if you are truly, truly hungry, you're going to eat whatever nutrition's right in front of you. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, with cravings, it gets real specific. You want chocolate, you want chips, you want burgers, you want milkshake, whatever it is. We've all had cravings. They're pretty specific, and usually it's for desire, like palatable, hyper palatable food. So things that make your mouth and your brain happy. You feel like emotions from it. That's not real hunger. And I kind of sidetracked there. The whole intuitive eating thing, slippery slope. And so if you're buying into this intuition that's telling you to eat a certain food, that's not real. Intuitive eating, by definition, is a skill you develop with experience and knowledge. It's not some God-given gift you're born with that's just telling you what to eat, okay? You're a human being in a human body, and human bodies have some really primitive survival drives that'll tell you to eat a whole bag of Doritos as intuitive eating. So don't buy into that garbage, and I'll probably do another coaching session on that because I talk about it all the time. So anyway, cravings versus hunger. Real hunger, you'll eat anything, you'll eat your arm off. Cravings are very specific food items that you're going after, so that's your first clue that somebody's got their hands on the wheel and it's not you. And so that's what this is about. It's about your biology and the biology of cravings. So you need to quit shaming yourself or gaslighting yourself or thinking that you're broken because you're having cravings and you can't, you cave into them all the time. It has nothing to do with you as a person, your self-worth. It has nothing to do with that. So you got to get rid of the guilt and the shame and just throw that trash away. Like, it's not serving you in any way, and it's actually this survival drive thing, the lizard brain I've talked about before, coming in through the back door, causing you shame and guilt because it knows if it pushes those buttons, you'll probably cave in and eat something to make yourself feel better. So it's so sneaky. It is so sneaky. It is such a pain in the ass. But once you start learning about it and you have a coach now that's teaching you about it, you're going to start recognizing it more and more. You're not going to be 100% right off the bat. Like, this is a practice and an intentional self-awareness that you have to develop to start seeing this stupid ass lizard brain more and more and more, but you will, and you'll start calling it out. You're calling yourself out, and it gets a whole lot easier. So that is the introduction and my long-winded way of rambling about everything I talk about every day. So, how do cravings work? I have notes that I'm reading off of here because I want to stay on track, right? So how do cravings work? So first of all, there's food signals, okay? So you could call these triggers. I don't love that word because it's more, trigger is associated with emotion. I like the term signal better. So food signals are something that comes into our view and our perspective that starts this process of getting us to eat a certain thing. So it can be external things or internal things. So external things might be like maybe it's date night with your husband, and so automatically you start craving frozen yogurt because every time you guys have date night, you go eat frozen yogurt. Or big food companies, they put billions, literally billions and billions of dollars into researching this mechanism in the brain that I'm talking about to get you to associate a certain food signal with a certain food so that you'll gorge yourself on this food. So think about it. What is the first thing you think about when you think about going to the movie theater? Popcorn, right? It's just paired. The two have been paired. That's from big food. How about Halloween? Halloween's coming up. When you think of Halloween, what do you think of? Do you think of jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins? Maybe that's the second thing, but the first thing is candy. Candy and Halloween go together. Whenever you've gone through a breakup, or if someone else goes through a breakup or a divorce, or had a bad day, or whatever it is, what is associated with that? Ice cream. That's pretty common, right? You drown your sorrow in ice cream. Or how about, this is a good one, how about PMS, or when you're on your period? What food signal have we all been programmed to believe goes with PMS? Chocolate, right? Everybody knows that. So these are all external food signals. Internal food signals could be, you're just sad, you're tired, you're depressed, you're happy. Maybe it's a happy occasion and you have this thing where whenever you're super happy, you eat, I don't know, chips or Mexican food, or let's celebrate. Hey, we've got this thing in our culture where any social gathering, we come together with family or friends. Let's go eat. What are we going to eat? Where are we going to eat? It's just part of our culture, right? There's food signals everywhere. So learning and kind of maybe journaling about what your particular food signals are would be really, really informative and help you in this process of eliminating the craving issue. So that's it for food signals. So what happens is you get these, you encounter the trigger or the food signal and you immediately get the craving, right? That feeling, that sensation within that internal state where you just have this drive all of a sudden, this internal push. Something's pushing you or motivating you to go get this food that's associated with that food signal. Now at this point, this thing that I talked about the other night, the lizard brain, takes over. It takes over your brain, it takes over control of your actions, and it starts to give you all the thoughts and feelings, the rationalizations for going to get the food that you've been signaled to go get, right? And that's the next part. So this is kind of like a chain of events that happens. First you have the food signal, now you have the cravings, now the lizard brain takes over, and now you're motivated and you go and you take the action to go bake the brownies, go eat the cookie dough, go get the ice cream, go get the wine, whatever it is, mac and cheese, french fries, we all have our things, right? Bowl of cereal, there you go, there's mine, bowl of cereal. And then once you get the food, you receive the reward. There's a reward. You can feel it. There's like a like a relief that you got the reward, right? Now that physical sensation, that like wave or wash of emotion that comes over you, and there's like physical sensation, it feels so good. It's like, what's the word? Shit. It's late. My brain stops working at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So this is a stretch for me to do this, you guys. But euphoria, there we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So you get this wave of euphoria once you eat that food, you get the reward, right? That wave of euphoria is actually a chemical in your body, in your brain, called dopamine. We've all heard that before, but I'm going to give you a little in-depth lesson on what dopamine is and how it works. So that reward feeling, that euphoria, is from dopamine. Dopamine is the actual reward chemical in your brain. It is also the motivation chemical in your brain. So when your brain needs you to do something or be motivated to do something, it rewards you with dopamine, or it takes dopamine away. And I'm going to go over that in just a second. There is, it's attached to survival. Okay, so caveman stuff, primitive survival drive. So the dopamine reward cycle kind of works like this. And just keep in your mind, keep thinking about cravings and reward and binging and eating the things you are driven to eat, even though you know they're bad for you, okay? The dopamine cycle has two speeds. The first one is it goes up. It makes you high. I almost, like, that's really funny that I said that, and we'll get to why that's funny here in a minute. But the dopamine goes up, and it gets you like that euphoric feeling. You're motivated, you're happy, you're driven in a positive way to go do something. Think about like an adrenaline rush, and think about a junkie, like a drug junkie, that fiending for a drug. They're like really pumped up and motivated to go get the drug, right? That's dopamine. That's elevated dopamine. Then you also have decreased dopamine. So you have like a baseline. It either goes up or it goes down below baseline. Now when dopamine drops, you feel anxious, you feel sad, you feel depressed, you can be angry, like a rageaholic, but it's all those negative, low vibrational feelings that you start to have when dopamine goes low, like way lower than baseline, okay? So you have euphoria up here, you have your baseline, and then you have shit down here, the shitty feelings, right? Now, when it comes to food signals and cravings, the dopamine cycle works like this, and it's a wave. You got to imagine this is a wave, the dopamine wave. First, it's going to go up because think about it. You get the signal, oh, we're going to the movie theater. Ooh, I get popcorn, I'm going to get extra butter. You get excited. You get a little amped up, like you're excited. You're going to go get your stuff. You're going to go get your drugs, right? Whatever it is. And you get excited, you're motivated, you're ready to go. You're really positive about it. But let's say you're trying to use willpower. We're going to talk about that as well. And you're like, no, I'm on my diet right now. I'm on this program. I'm on my meal plan. I can't have any extras. That's not in my macros, whatever. And you resist at first, right? You're like, no, I'm not going to do it. Even though you really want it, you can smell the popcorn already. You're like flashback to the last time you went to the theater and it was so fun, and you're with your husband, it's date night, and it was so yummy, and you had the real butter and blah, 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 right? But you're resisting, you're leaning on your willpower, right? And you're not going to do it this time. You're not going to cave in this time. So what happens, that initial adrenaline rush or dopamine rush that was getting you motivated to go get the stuff that you resist, now it drops. It drops way low, way below baseline, and it's going to feel really shitty. And there's a reason for that. the lizard brain, which has taken over your brain, the lizard, like the survival drive in your brain has taken over. It wants you to feel so crappy that you're gonna be driven by the discomfort rather than the euphoria to go get it, to be motivated that way. Now it's gonna motivate you with pain, with discomfort, with irritation, because now it's like, okay, she didn't follow through with that signal. Let's give her a little push with this instead. So you were up here, now you're dropping really low, and it's that both are meant to get you to go get the goddamn popcorn, right? The lizard is at the wheel. And you gotta imagine, like, lizard sounds too nice. That sounds too cute. That sounds like the little Geico commercial guy. You can name this thing in your brain whatever disgusting, narcissistic piece of shit thing you want to call it in order to get control and to, like, be a warrior up against it, okay? Like, lizard almost is too cute. I've heard people call it the pig. A lot of people call it the pig, but a lot of people get offended when you say things like pig. You can call it the demon. You can call it the devil on your shoulder. You can call it what I just called it, a narcissistic piece of shit. Like, whatever you need to do, whatever you need to name it, give it a name. Give it a name, give it an avatar that you can call upon to be disgusted with and go to war against. Whatever you need to do to understand that this thing is not you and you are not going to let it have power over you, right? And now that I'm giving you the science behind it, it's going to make a lot more sense in the moment, and it's going to give you a lot more strength. Not willpower. This is like true strength. This is like sovereignty, standing in your full power and not letting anything have power over you, even if it's in your own head, okay? So, we just talked about the dopamine cycle, the really high to the really low, this wave that you're on with these cravings, right? You're gonna feel sad. It's gonna be really uncomfortable. You're gonna feel anxious, depressed. Like, it is a really shitty feeling when that dopamine drops. So you need to plan for it. Expect it. Just like when you're dealing with a narcissist, they do what they do. They're never going to change. It's like nailing Jello to the wall, and it becomes so predictable that you just plan for it. You just plan for the shitstorm that you know is coming, and then it's still crappy, like it still doesn't feel so good, but you know that it's coming. You know, and you're ready for it, and you're a badass. You're not going to put up with that. Like, do what you need to do. Lizard or narcissist, whatever, throw your shade at me. I am standing in my truth. I am not going to cave in to this. And this has nothing to do with willpower. This is about you owning your personal power, okay? So what is all this? Like this dopamine cycle and these cravings, like what is digging even deeper? What is this all about? Why do we have this shit in our brain? Like, what is that? So like I've said several times, it's a primitive survival drive in the brain, right? So we're thinking back caveman days. How was this created? Like, what is the purpose behind all this? So it's all about survival. And the biology of it is about developing habits of survival. So making it autopilot, automatic behavior, automatic habits that'll keep you alive in times of famine or just in general, because caveman days were hairy, right? Like, it was kill or be killed, eat or die. Like, these are just primitive, stay alive things. And so the brain was built to develop these automatic habits and behaviors in order to get you to survive and, carry on with the next generation of offspring, okay? So here's our little story. We have our little caveman. He sees a bee. He follows the bee. He doesn't know what a bee is at first, okay? He's just like, well, that's interesting. because, cavemen said things like interesting. And he follows the bee just to see what's up. And the bee goes to a hive, and the caveman's like, what is this? And he sees all this honey in the hive, and he gets the instinct or the intuition to eat all the honey. And good goddamn, that is the best food he's ever tasted in his life. He eats all of it because this is food, this is sustenance, and it's going to keep him alive for however long, right? And so that survival drive in the brain associates that honey and that sustenance that he's eating, and you eat it until it's gone. Same thing if he ended up at a fruit tree. He ate all the fruit off the tree, ate it until it was gone. And what that does, or what that did, is the dopamine cycle was created in our brain, in our evolution. So it was such a high reward finding that honey, or finding whatever that thing is that provided life, more energy, more sustenance to live a little bit longer, that the dopamine cycle was created in order to perpetuate that action, that activity, if the signal, the food signal, ever shows up again. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining this well. So, because that was such a high reward when he ate all that honey, the brain released the mother load of dopamine, like way beyond just an elevated peak of a wave, like through the roof. As much dopamine as possible just flooded caveman's brain with this dopamine, right? Think about, you've probably heard stories like this before, a heroin addict. They talk about the very, very, very first time they did heroin. They are constantly chasing that high for the rest of their addiction, right? And they can never get that high again. This is the exact same mechanism. The brain dumped so much dopamine with that first initial bit of honey that later on, caveman is now programmed to follow every bee that he ever sees, because that first hit, that first experience was so strong, that dopamine was so strong that it carved out a literal neural pathway or habit forming pathway in the brain, that when you see a bee, you follow it because there is a hive full of honey at the end of that road. Even if he follows the bee forever, like the next time or the next time, and there's no honey, there's no hive, and he follows the bee, and he follows, that first initial dopamine high was so freaking high that it's created this habit and this pathway that he just knows. Food signal, he sees bee, food signal, craving, follow the bee, go find the honey. Just like a heroin addict. That initial high was so amazing. They will do anything to get that high again, even though it's impossible to get it. So that's how these habits are formed, and that's how these cravings are formed. That dopamine is so addictive and so fulfilling to our brain, and it is attached to a belief, like a biological belief of survival, that it is just downloaded, and that's why these cravings are so strong and so powerful. And it only takes some people one time to create that habit. Most people, it takes a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times, but then it is in there. It is in there. That food signal, that craving, it is like concrete cemented in your brain to associate the signal with the craving, with the food, with the reward, with the dopamine high, right? So I went over that. So if that helps you, you can think of these cravings like a junkie, like a drug junkie, because really that is what you're going for. That craving that you're having isn't necessarily for the food, it's for the dopamine hit, the high. So you're getting high with food. That's what you're going after. It's not even actually the food. So if that helps you, if that association helps you hang on to that. How do we overcome all this shit? Now that we've learned and feel bad about all this addictive behavior we have as humans, especially when it comes to tasty food, how do we get over it? How do we overcome these cravings? First, like I said before, you need to figure out your signals. Journal about it. Think about these internal, like emotional things that make you run to certain foods. Think about external things like food companies associating movies and popcorn. For me, it's almost like situational and emotional. I have a thing where late at night, I start to feel anxious. I'm thinking about things, or in the past, I was thinking about relationship, or I was with a partner who was abusive or verbally manipulative, and it was just an automatic behavior for me to go to the pantry and get some cereal or a donut or ice cream or just stuff my face until I went to bed, right? It became a habit. But if you start to know what your signals are, that's the first thing, to just become aware. And don't beat yourself up. Like I'm gonna repeat this so many times. Take shame and guilt out of it. There's no room for that in your life anymore. And it's not real. It's not real. This is not about a personal value or personal self-worth. This is simply biology, okay? So figure out your signals. Next thing, and this one's really hard, is to learn how to ride that wave. The high dopamine, the low dopamine, just ride it out. Write it out. Be so uncomfortable. It sucks. It sucks so bad. You want that food so bad. You want that ice cream, that cupcake, the candy in the break room, the pizza that a coworker bought. Like, you want that shit so bad. Like, your mouth is watering, you can smell it, it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder. Like, you are so uncomfortable. It would be such a relief to just take one bite, right? Just one little, like, come on, it's balance, right? It's balance. See, the lizard brain knows exactly what to say to you. You can have it in moderation. You've been good all day. You've been on your plan, but. Like, it knows exactly what little shitty thing to say to gaslight you with to make you put that food in your mouth. Do not do it. Be pissed. Be sad. Deal with the FOMO, deal with all of it. Like, you are gonna feel miserable. And guess what? That's how you know it's working. That's how you know it's working. Just like if you're a little bit hungry while you're on a diet or a weight loss program and your stomach's growling a little bit, instead of getting pissed off and bitchy about it, guess what? That's what fat loss feels like. That means it's working. So congratulate yourself, because if all these negative sensations are coming up, it means you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Nothing worth having comes easy. Instant gratification is bullshit because it buries you. It makes you miserable. So ride that wave before I get off on my soapbox here and ride my high horse about about all this stuff. Just know that it's working, and ride that wave. Ride that wave. Go for a walk, go for a run, go for a swim, go for a drive. Get your ass out of that environment that is causing the trigger or the signal or the craving, and go ride it out. Go scream. Go sit in your car and scream. You can go punch a punching bag. Go jump in the pool. I don't know. Physical stuff for me is the best. Like, changing my physical state, like dropping and doing some burpees, some really rapid deep breathing, like Wim Hof. We can talk about that some other time. Taking my dogs for a walk, getting out in nature, just changing the scene. Anything you can do to shift your energy. It's called a shift move. Shifts you out of the shit. Oh, I've got some good one-liners today, huh? Next up, so we did figure out your signals, ride the wave, just ride it out, be uncomfortable, then you know it's working. Have a strategic plan, and I talked about this the other night, have actual food rules that are like a contract you write with yourself. It's a non-negotiable commitment. I only eat this certain food at this time. I never eat sugar after 5 p.m. I never eat donuts at night. I only eat pancakes on Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 8:30, like whatever. Get real specific, especially about whatever your triggering foods are or triggering situation is. Like, make some non-negotiable contract food rules written down in pen, on paper. Stick it right in front of your face, right on the donut box, right on the fridge, wherever you need to put it. Put those food rules up and understand that you've made this commitment to yourself and you're going to stick to it no matter what. You're going to be so angry, but do not cross your own boundaries, because when you cross your own boundaries, it opens the door for other people to walk all over you too. And we're not about that anymore. That's not what this program's about. It's about setting boundaries and stepping up and becoming the most empowered, confident version of yourself, even when it feels hard and shitty and uncomfortable and you just want to eat all the donuts or all the cereal. And side note here, do not make substitutions. Okay, this is something I did for years before I learned about this stuff. So I really wanted to eat the brownies, right? So instead, I bought these high protein, sugar-free brownies. And when the craving would come up, I would eat those instead of the regular brownies, right? That was not progress. It was reinforcing the habit. It was literally reinforcing the craving, the pathway in the brain that we're trying to eliminate and break. When you substitute even sugar-free stuff, even high-protein stuff, even gluten-free stuff, like whatever the fuck, if you are in that environment, you had the food signal, you had the craving, and you're just eating something different in its place, it is still reinforcing the exact same pathway. You've got to stop. Get rid of that entire pathway. Do not cave in. Do not substitute. Walk away. Follow your food rules. Do something completely different. Move your body. Incorporate a yoga practice right then, a meditation practice. But sometimes in these situations, meditation's too weak. Sorry, it is what it is. Do something physically demanding that change your internal state through the physical body. That's what works best for me. But do not substitute, because then you're not fixing anything. It's called intermittent reinforcement. You're just reinforcing that pathway. And same thing. So let's say you go a few days and you're strong for a few days and you don't cave in, you don't substitute, but you're like, you know, I've been really good. I've done this like 4 or 5 days now. I haven't caved in. So it won't hurt me if I do it just once. Like, it's Friday night. I'll just have like one piece of pizza and then I'll be right back on to my program tomorrow, and I'm not going to cave in anymore. Oh, good Lord. That's just like the heroin addict saying, you know what? I have been sober for a good week now. I could just have one little bump of my drugs and like I'm right back on it. I'm right back to sober life. It messes things up royally. And what comes back with a vengeance is that dopamine wave. And it is not where you were before, the high and low. It is double the intensity, double the chemical release, double the flood, double it. It comes back 1,000% worse. And then it wipes all that work out that you did, and now you're a drug addict again. You're full on junkie again, and it is so much harder. It is 1,000 times harder now to tough it out and to not cave in. It is even harder. So how long do we have to do this? How long do we have to be miserable before these goddamn cravings go away? Everybody's different, but usually around 30 days, most people, like 80-90%, are feeling pretty good. Pretty good. The cravings may still pop up, the food signals may trigger some stuff, but your resistance to it feels so much stronger by that 30-day mark. And the first, this sucks. This really sucks. The first 7 to 21 times that you resist and ride the wave, it's going to be god awful. It's going to be god awful. It's so powerful. It's so strong, so miserable. But once you get over that hump, that 7 to 21 times, so I don't know if that's going to be 7 to 21 days, if it's going to be a couple of days because you're getting hit with signals throughout the day. Like, I don't know. Everyone's different, but that's what the research shows. It's 7 to 21 points of resistance where you just deal with that high and low of the dopamine, the cycle. Because what happens is your brain doesn't pour energy into stuff that isn't valuable for it anymore. So at some point, it's like, you know what? We are wasting a lot of precious energy, a lot of precious resources by doing this dopamine high and dump and high and up. Like that's actually taking away from our system quite a bit. And so it re-gears, like it backs off. It still keeps trying a little bit. It's still there a little bit after that 7 to 21 days, but it reduces. And then a little while later, reduces. And then it reduces. And that's why I say by around the 30-day mark, you're feeling pretty confident at that point. But you still got to be on top of it. You got to be non-negotiable with those food rules. Don't ever throw them away. Those are your food rules. Those are your commitments. Be militant with your meal planning. You don't have to meal prep, but your meal planning. Like, I eat it 7, 10, 1, 4, and 7 every day. That's it. Make that a commitment. Whatever your commitments are. Everybody has different needs and goals in lifestyle, but you need to be militant with what's right for you, what's healthy and efficient for you. What else? Do I want to say anything else? Oh, it talked about naming the lizard brain. Give it a really good name. A disgusting avatar that'll make you want to fight back, right? Something else that's worked for me quite a bit is in those really, really difficult moments where you're like right on the edge. You're right on the edge and you're about to do it. Compromise with yourself by saying this is the meal. This is the meal. This is the bite that counts more than anything. Like this meal, this cheat, or this whatever the fuck, this is gonna make or break me. If I can get through this one meal this one time, then we can think about it tomorrow. Oh, we can renegotiate tomorrow. Like maybe tomorrow it'll be okay. Tomorrow I can let myself have a treat. And you don't do that. But the lizard brain only thinks in the now. It doesn't think in the future or the past. It only thinks in the now. It's instant gratification. So use your neocortex, the more evolved logical part of your brain, and tell yourself, this is the one that counts more than anything else that I've done in the past 3 months. this is the meal that'll make or break me. And if I cave into this, then it's over. It's over. I gained 300 pounds or whatever you need to do. But, you know, negotiate with yourself that way. Hey, tomorrow let's revisit this. But tonight, right now, this is do or die. This is life or death right now. And then another thing that I do is I'm really good at visualizing, and I've had a lot of shitty people in my life. I imagine like the most abusive, horrible, narcissistic people from my life, from my past. I imagine that they are watching me in that moment, and they want to see me fail. They want to see me break. They want to see me cave in and eat the sugar, eat the bullshit. And when they see me do that, they win. They win. They own me. They own my body. They own my life. They own everything that I work so hard to build, getting away from them. They own it. They take it all back. And I'm like, no way am I going to do that. I will never give them that kind of satisfaction. And that gets me through. That gets me through that super irritating, obnoxious, really uncomfortable dopamine wave by thinking about that. So those are some tips and tricks. That's all about cravings. I hope this helps. It was kind of a long ramble, but it's really, really, really invaluable, valuable, I don't know, one of those words, information that you just don't hear about anywhere else. You really don't. I've never heard about it anywhere else besides this author that I learned it from. He wrote Never Binge Again. But I hope you guys got some value out of this. Comment below. Watch this when you can. I'll tag y'all in it in the comment section. And I hope you're doing well in your programs. I'm proud of everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be your coach. And stay tuned for Sunday's mindset training.